American murdered in the Philippines. This could have been avoided. Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Most of these fatal crimes and accidents can be completely avoided. We've seen these happen in countries where we were residents over and over again, and we've witnessed the tremendous risks that unsuspecting expats and tourists may be a little too quick to ignore. That's why we're bringing you this video today to help you realize this is real and it happens to real people just like you that fit the profile of someone just like you. Our first story entails a horrific crime that is quite prevalent abroad. It doesn't matter which country, just name them all. Where and when. That's what's important in this story. I don't mean where as country, I mean where it happened in the country. Where it happened and when are clues to saving your life. So here's the first story, and it just happened 2 days ago. American tourist 56 fatally shot in front of his distraught partner after withdrawing money from an ATM in the Philippines. Ralph Manecki, 58, was gunned down by a helmet-wearing perp in the town of Trento on Wednesday night while he was withdrawing roughly $800 cash from an ATM, according to local cops. So the two clues of where and when show us how this crime could have been completely avoided. The number one mistake this man made was when attempting to get cash out, which was at night, and where was just right off the street. Right off the street where everybody is. So most robberies of this sort usually happen right off the street because it makes for an easy getaway in a car or motorcycle. After dark is the worst time to get money out from an ATM because more bad apples come out after dark looking for trouble. Bank ATM robbers are usually males under the age of 25, and they mostly work alone, but not always. ATM robbers usually position themselves nearly 50 feet, waiting for a victim to approach and withdraw cash. Half of the ATM robberies occur after the cash withdrawal. Most of them occur at night, between 8 p.m. and midnight. And the ATM robbers usually position themselves nearby waiting for a victim, which is right there off the street. When we lived abroad in many different countries, what we would do is we went inside a bank during the day and we used the ATM there, or we would go inside the shopping mall where several banks were and we would use the ATM there, and it was always guarded with armed guards, or we would use the ATM inside a grocery store. We never used an ATM right off a busy street, not even during the day. You know, that's gonna cause some problems. The bad apples are watching, and they are prepared when the right opportunity strikes. Also, you never want to count your money right there in front of crowds of people. Discreetly grab your money, fold it up, and stick it in your pocket right away. You should always watch your back, too, as you're walking away, especially if you're on foot. Make sure that you're not being followed. We were mostly on foot, and so this is a very important step. Just a few tips to help you out there. We never had any issues with crime because we were careful. Alright, story number 2 also just happened very recently and is so sad and tragic, but that's why we make these videos, so you can know what to look out for when you travel and enjoy the world's flora and fauna. Tourist 22 killed by elephant in front of her boyfriend at a Thai sanctuary. Elephants are wild animals. Even if reports say they have been domesticated over the years, they are very unpredictable animals, which means they will behave in ways that are not normally seen or understood. Getting in the water with a 5 to 10 ton animal and thinking that it's okay is something that has been fed to us humans now for several decades, ever since the advent of the travel abroad movement. A typical adult African elephant weighs between 5,000 and 14,000 pounds. Some of these countries have figured out another way to make money from the tourists. Hey, let's have the tourists get in the playpen with the animals. We'll tame the wildness out of them and train them to be nice, and we'll make so much money. We've been terribly deceived by those who want us to believe that wild animals are safe to handle and be near. But the truth is, we have been tricked to believe that playing with wild animals is appropriate for humans. From wildlife enthusiasts to wildlife safaris to tourist boards and everything in between, all trying to get us to believe untamed animals are somehow our friends. The cost to bathe an elephant in Thailand can vary, but typical tours range from around $50 to $150 per person, depending on the location and inclusions like transportations and meals. These wild elephants have been taken out of their natural habitat and made to interact with humans instead of their own kind. It's not standard for an animal to be taken out of captivity and think it's not going to do something unpredictable at some point. We hear horror story after horror story. Over 2,500 people have died in 5 years in human-elephant conflicts. The best way to avoid getting killed by wild animals is curb your desire to get up close to these animals. Respect them from afar and enjoy their beauty. Moving on to story number 3. We've talked about the horrendous rough waters of Latin America, particularly Ecuador, Panama, and Costa Rica. The oceans of Costa Rica have had the most drowning deaths in all of Latin America. Most of these accidents can be avoided by knowing what to look for. Costa Rica and El Salvador have some of the highest drowning rates in Latin America, primarily due to rip currents and lack of safety measures at many beaches. Some of Panama's beaches on the Pacific side are like that, and right there in front of the most popular resort, you could barely go swimming. You could see the rip currents, and that is also a sign the water is not swimmable. Here is what currents look like. The water can look calm and peaceful and still carry you out by a current. So don't let the baby waves make you think the water is safe. Take baby steps when you're out in the ocean. Walk out to your knees and see if what it feels like, and see if it's pulling you out. If it's not, then walk out a little bit more to your waist. But unless you have a boogie board or a flotation device, you seriously should not go out past your waist in the ocean. Drowning is a common cause of death among international travelers. An estimated 236,000 individuals worldwide die from drowning each year. This is what a rip current looks like. When you see this in the water, you need to just wait it out or go swimming somewhere else along the beach. Frank and I would often go to the beach in Coronado, Panama, and most of the time the water had rip currents in it, and the Coronado beaches have a huge drop-off also that puts you over your head after just about 5 feet in the ocean. On Punta Carnero in Ecuador, the locals don't even go in the ocean. That's how bad it is. All right, number 4. 8 Americans die in tragic car accident in Mexico. 8 residents of Frankfort, Indiana, including 4 family members and 3 minors, were killed in a tragic car accident in the city of San Luis Potosi, State, Mexico. The crash occurred early Sunday morning when the vehicle they were traveling in collided with an overturned tractor trailer. The best way to survive when you go on vacation is to buckle up and slow down if you're driving a motor vehicle. Fatal car accidents are the #1 killer of expats and tourists that go abroad. And Mexico is where most of the car crashes happen. Is it any wonder, since the driving is erratic, unpredictable, unorganized, and chaotic? Mexico has a significant number of road traffic deaths involving U.S. citizens, with vehicle accidents being one of the leading causes of death for Americans traveling there. In recent years, vehicle accidents accounted for a substantial portion of U.S. deaths in Mexico. So when in Mexico, forget about speed zones, traffic lights, road lines and dashes, and those pesky stop signs. I mean, they're there, but no one follows them. We experienced this firsthand because we drove all over in Baja, Mexico. Frank did most of the driving because I was petrified to get behind the wheel of an automobile because of the driving style in Mexico. People drive way too fast, and speed has everything to do with the timing of being able to stop, pull over, whatever you need to do to avoid a crash. We like to say we have fast reflexes or we drive defensively, but if you're speeding, none of that matters. Now, the incident happened because there was an overturned tractor trailer on the road. There was no warning with a red flag or piece of clothing beforehand. Nothing. The driver was speeding and couldn't stop in time, and they all died upon impact. The #1 thing that can save your life is to slow down. And our last story is number 5. robbery scams, dating scams, drink spiking scams, also known as alcohol poisoning scams. 6 dead and 37 are fighting for their life after drinking fake booze at Brit favorite holiday destination. The fake alcohol was recovered from a tourist hotspot in Thailand. Different types of scams happen all the time to the foreign tourist while on vacation in these hugely touristic populated paradises. The scammers love all the gullible foreign tourists. Scam tourism is at an all-time high because of the boost of foreigners going abroad. The motives behind drink spiking can include sexual assault, robbery, or simply a prank. Often the intent is to incapacitate the victim to make them more vulnerable to these crimes. The tourists and expats that are often targeted for these scams usually have 3 things in common. They're rich, naive, and foreigners. It's hard to believe that tourists are still tricked into taking drinks from strangers in these types of vacation environments, or that they leave a drink unattended in these resort hotels without a care in the world. We've been talking about this since 2012, and it's more prevalent now than ever before. In this next clip, they are literally saying that the tourists staying in their all-inclusive resort ate and drank themselves to death, rather than say they gave their guests methanol-laced alcohol, which poisoned them.
You know, I've been talking about vested interest for years, since 2011, 2012. And I don't know, when you hear that, if you really understand how strong the veil of the vested interest is. You've got to see it for yourself to really get what I'm saying here. Watch this clip.
When people come to all-inclusive, I'm not an all-inclusive hotel, people have a tendency to drink and eat more than often. And that's where the problem begins. Because when you get everything free, then you make a party out of it. So sometimes some people may not be capable of drinking and eating as much, and that's why you have incidents with heart attacks and things like that.
So those are the people Mr. Neary suggested you may have eaten themselves to death.
Okay, so you saw the clip. The situation is just completely just whitewashed and just swept under the rug. So that's what you can expect, and that's what you will always get from the vested interest, but not from this channel and any other like it.
All-inclusive refers to a vacation package or resort where the price covers all essential services, including lodging, meals, drinks, activities, and the entertainment, without any surprise costs. Countless vacationers, usually Brits and Americans, traveling all over the world have succumbed to these horrific poisonings. And everyone is getting in on the money-making industry of poisoning naive foreigners with tainted alcohol. The manufacturers can sell the booze to the resorts for way less money, and the rumor is it doesn't stop there. It's worth noting that there's a strong correlation between these alcohol poisonings and price gouging by medical facilities that are contracted with the resorts to care for the targeted guests, some paying thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars for emergency medical care. Do not be fooled. They see you as a naive foreigner on vacation, and if they can buy the methanol-laced booze for less and dole it out in these all-inclusive resorts and triple their money, that's what they will do. The terrible tragedy can be completely avoided by you, however. Don't take drinks by strangers behind a counter working in a resort. Don't take drinks that you have not gone to the store and personally bought yourself, and don't leave your drink unattended ever. But the best thing would be to don't drink alcohol at all. We've never had to worry about this since we don't drink alcohol. The dating scams are prevalent in both Dominican Republic and Colombia. We touched on this tragic scam against foreigners in this video, so we won't spend too much time on it. But in a nutshell, in 2023, 8 American expat men were killed in Medellin, Colombia, using a dating app. Hooking up with a date, the woman drugs the men, and her boss man ends up robbing and deleting the expats from this earth.
for the bad apples within the society, this is a gold mine, literally a gold mine for them, and the target is you. The target is you. You know, the foreigner becomes the gold mine of the bad apples. It's just inevitable.
In the Dominican Republic, the scam works a little bit different. The men are lured by a dating app, get kidnapped, and held for ransom. In 2022, there were 102 reported kidnapping cases in the Dominican Republic, which included incidents involving American citizens. Americans are considered rich in these developing countries, even when you're not. Your chances of being kidnapped in some of these countries like Turkey, Iran, Mexico, and others is actually quite high. In 2023, there were 463 reported cases of kidnapping in Mexico, which was a decrease from 506 cases in 2022. It is estimated that a significant portion of these cases involved American nationals. Alright folks, that's it for this video. We hope some of this information will be helpful to you and keep you safe if you are ever in one of these dreadful situations. Take care, be blessed, and bye-bye.